Is SEO dead? That's all we hear day in, day out. Well, we got on LinkedIn. We had a little debate about the merits of SEO versus AI engine optimization, and we're going to give you the cold hard facts. Are the metrics for AI engine optimization any good? What is the difference between SEO and AEO? And why we believe AI engines are the best brand visibility channel you have access to today.
So obviously, with everything we saw from Google, one of the biggest stories of the week, it's going to change the SEO game. And Kieran, I saw on LinkedIn, you were maybe getting into the equivalent of a LinkedIn fight with someone on if SEO is dying. And so coming off the heels of all of this Gemini information and the agentic browsing, what the hell has happened with SEO? And maybe catch us up on your SEO debate that you were having.
There's some good conversations on LinkedIn.
Are there?
This was actually
I thought it was just people looking for jobs and trolling each other. And
there's real conversations.
Of all the apps I scroll, LinkedIn is my least favorite.
You are not alone in that, actually. All right, so let me get into this. Okay, so there's a really good thread here from Matthew Proctor, and what he basically said was GEO, AIO, we call it AEO.
We call it AEO,
AI engine optimization, is a scam, and he made some pretty good points, right? He said ChatGPT isn't stealing traffic from Google. He is correct, and I think this gets lost. This isn't why you and I think search is disrupted. Its search volume is going to go up. You said it yourself. Never have I asked so many questions because I'm able to get such better answers, and it's easier to do. But what's disappearing is clicks, and that's the thing that we should focus on. He said, we'll get into this. So most AI engine optimization tactics aren't new. Rank trackers are BS, and on and on and on. And so what I told him was a couple of things. On the metrics, he's somewhat right about that. And so the challenge with the metrics is if you search in ChatGPT your desktop, let's say in a brand new account, if you search in ChatGPT in your desktop, it still isn't going to be exactly like the results the API will give you, right? So these trackers are querying through the API. And so that's like one small change. Now, when you add in memory, and I've done this, right? I've done searches with my ChatGPT in memory, ChatGPT without memory, and then I've searched through the API. If you want to do that, you can go to OpenAI's Playground and do prompts, and it will prompt through the API. And I did the same query for those three things: ChatGPT memory, ChatGPT no memory on the desktop, OpenAI Playground through the API. Each time the result was different. So there's some truth in that. And it's also very hard to replicate how a user asks questions of an AI assistant. So the way these AI search tools work is you'll pre-program them with multiple ways that you think someone will ask a question about your product or service. And then every day it will ask that question of ChatGPT and see if you appear in that result. Then it aggregates them all together and says, well, you're visible for this many queries, so your visibility is like X%. Now, the challenge with that is the way you probably ask questions of ChatGPT, the way I ask questions of ChatGPT is going to be very hard for anyone to predict. And so you likely aren't capturing anywhere near the amount of visibility you really have. To me, that is not a reason to not use those tools, because they are at least some barometer of success. Like, I have 100 queries. Am I more visible in the queries today than I was 6 months ago? I think that's worth knowing. So that's number one. I see what you think about that, and then I can get into the second one I told him.
Well, my first thought is SEO Kieran might be dead, but he is reborn as AEO Kieran. You're back, baby. You dusted off the gloves. You were like, look, all these young kids think they know how to do search, and I am back, and I'm going to mess them up.
Back in the arena.
That was my number one take. You were talking, I was like, I'm not even hearing what he's saying. He's just, he's gotten the gloves up off the wall, and he's ready to go. He's ready out here. He's doing queries in OpenAI Playground. He's like doing his thing. You're in the arena.
Dude, I'm trying to build synthetic memory at the moment to see if that is a way that I could replicate. Like, can I replicate Kip's search by trying to understand who someone like Kip, how someone like Kip would have built up memory within ChatGPT? The other interesting thing is you and I have personal and work accounts.
Yes.
So if you search for something in each account, I bet you it's different again because your memory is different in each of those accounts because you use them differently. Pretty fascinating, right? Like, it's very, very, very hard. The other thing is, like, he's like, well, AEO is is bullshit because Google's search volume is growing. That's exactly what you would expect to happen.
If AEO was good, that's exactly what you would expect to happen.
Yeah. This is the thing that Google bring out as well, actually, for their core talking point. They're like, hey, this is actually good for everyone because we're seeing search volume go up. Now, I would argue it's really good for Google because I think they're going to figure out how to monetize questions and intent. But what's disappearing is clicks.
So this is the point. The reason AEO isn't bullshit, and the reason that AEO should be something that every company is focused on, is because Google, what they're doing right now is talking about all the search visits going up and trying to pretend that they're monetizing them the same way through AdWords. And they're not, because they're not the same types of queries, and there are a lot of AI mode queries and everything. But in the background, they're trying to figure out new ways to monetize. And as they do, we'll get a new level of leverage with their new ad products that they come out with. But all of this, to me, just is obvious that these AI searches and AEO way more important than ever, because it's better time to ask questions and because you can get more personal answers thanks to memory. And that's the point you're making here, is that, like,
right.
Unless you're an idiot, you think memory is valuable to the search experience. And if you think memory is valuable to the search experience, then AEO is a big and important thing.
Yeah, and that's what I put at the end, which is this is a brand new channel that has 800 million weekly active users, and people are actively using it to search for products and services. This is great for marketeers who are losing channels. It is probably the best brand visibility channel, or one of the best brand visibility channels you have access to. So there is real upside in learning the nuance. And so one of the things I wanted to stress for our audience, because you say this all the time, is there a lot of difference between SEO and AEO? Not drastically different. Is there small, subtle differences that if you really figure out those small, subtle differences, like the nuance, that you will do much, much better than people who just think, well, the SEO stuff should work for the AEO stuff? Yes, we know that, right? There's subtle differences in how you structure the pages. One of the subtle differences is you have to create many, many more pages to be visible for all of the long tail of questions that people have about your products and services. And from your and I experiences is finding those little nuances and perfecting those. And that's what I was trying to say here, is there are nuances, and that's what's going to dictate who really wins in that space and who does not.
The ultimate mind bend of this AEO SEO shift is that you're going to get less visits but need more pages. And and that is counterintuitive. But the core opportunity here is lean into AEO, go direct with having more pages, which means you're going to need to make more of your ideas, more of your business content public, and you're going to need to parse it in very specific ways to deal with memory and even more nuanced, specific type of questions. Right, Kieran?
Right.
The world's getting more nuanced.
Look, SEO has completely flipped on its head. AI, engine optimization, AEO, is what's actually working right now. We just put together our early science guide to AI engine optimization, and honestly, this is the playbook we're using internally. We're sharing the exact frameworks, like how to write content so AI actually quotes you, plus our AEO grader tool to measure what's working. Get it right now, scan the QR code, or click the link in the description below. Now, let's get back to the show.
This to me is the best example of the first time we're creating marketing for agents versus humans.
Yes.
Because the human is coming to your website more qualified because they're doing all of their research in ChatGPT. And so you want your website to be pretty dialed in, and to give it you don't need to give them a ton of information because they're pretty well researched, but you want to give it all of the closing information to make sure they actually convert. Whereas for the agent, you have to have all of these pages on your website, like really question and answer type pages about your products and services, but the human will not find those valuable because they're getting that information in ChatGPT. And so you've got two things here now where I have to create all these pages for the agent, but I have to really dial my website in and make it like very conversion optimization oriented, because the person's coming and they're way more qualified. And that's what's going to happen to marketing, right? There's going to be marketing for the agents, marketing for the humans. And I think this is one of the better, or the first good examples of that happening.
I think that's the perfect closing here, which is like AEO is here and real, especially because of memory, especially because there's more questions. But those questions and the content to fuel them are getting answered by agents, and this is the first step of like the true agentic next step of the web. All right, thanks everybody for joining us on this new show of Marketing Against the Grain. We'll be back with you real soon.
This data is wrong every freaking time.
Have you heard of HubSpot? HubSpot is a CRM platform where everything is fully integrated.
Whoa, I can see the client's whole history, calls, support tickets, emails, and here's a task from 3 days ago I totally missed.
HubSpot. Grow better.